Good morning, I am Devasena. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the circulatory system. This topic is present in the subject medical electronics. Let us see the circulatory system in detail. The circulatory system consists of the heart and blood vessels, which together maintain a continuous flow of blood around the body. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to all parts of the body through a network of tubes called arteries and small branches called arterioles. Blood returns to the heart via small vessels called venules, which lead in turn into larger tubes called veins. Arterioles and venules are linked by a network of tiny vessels called capillaries, where exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and body cells takes place. Blood has four main components, that is red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets and liquid plasma. Let us see the function of the heart. The heart is a hollow muscle in the middle of the chest that pumps blood around the body, supplying cells with oxygen and nutrients. A muscular wall called a septum divides each side into two chambers, an upper atrium and a lower ventricle. When the heart muscle contracts, it squeezes blood through the atria and then through the ventricles. Oxygenated blood from the lungs flows from the pulmonary veins into the left atrium, through the left ventricle and then via the aorta to all parts of the body. Deoxygenated blood returning from the body flows from the vena cava into the right atrium through the right ventricle and then out via pulmonary artery to the lungs for reoxygenation. At rest, the heart beats between 60 and 80 times a minute. During exercise or excitement, the rate increases to 200 beats a minute. Heart pumping representation. Let us see the heart pumping representation. In this way, the heart pumps and blood is passed to the lungs, and from the lungs it is passed to the heart. During this, the heart creates the lubbed up sound. Lubbed up sound representation. Let's see the respiratory system parts. The respiratory system starts from the sinuses. It is indicated here. The sinuses is placed near the forehead. Followed by the sinus, we have pharynx. After the pharynx, we have larynx. Then we have trachea. Followed the trachea, the branchial tube. The branchial tube ends with bronchiole and we have alveoli. Need for the lungs function. The lungs work with the circulatory system to pump oxygen-rich blood to all cells in the body. The blood then collects carbon dioxide and other waste products and transports them back to the lungs, where they are pumped out of the body when we exhale. The human body needs oxygen to sustain itself. After only about 5 minutes without oxygen, brain cells begin dying, which can lead to brain damage and ultimately death. This is the cross-sectional view of human heart. The cross-sectional view of the heart is shown below. In this diagram, we have SC node. The SC node is a sinoatrial node where the origin of the heartbeat starts. Then we have AV node, that is atrioventricular node. Here, the flow of blood is being indicated. Animation of heart valves opening and closing. Blood travels from artery to arteriole to capillary to venule to vein indication. So pure blood is carried by the artery, it is passed, and from the body cells it collects the impure blood that is passed to the vein. It is indicated here. Flow of blood to the heart and from the heart. The given animation represents the flow of blood to the heart and from the heart. The blue color indicates that impure blood is passed to the lungs where it gets purified, and the red color indicates that pure blood from the lungs is passed to the heart. Figure shows the exterior view of the heart. In this heart, we have superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava collects the impure blood from the upper portions of the body and fed the impure blood to the right atrium. Likewise, inferior vena cava collects the impure blood from the lower portion of the body and it pours the impure blood to the right atrium. And through the pulmonary artery, this impure blood is carried to the lungs where it gets purified. It is indicated here. The pure blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary vein and it pours the pure blood to the left atrium. And this pure blood is distributed to the other parts of the body with the help of the aorta. It is indicated in this diagram. Let us see a small animation of impure blood from superior vena cava and inferior vena cava to the right atrium. So in this animation, impure blood from the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava is poured to the right atrium. It is indicated in this representation. Let us see a small animation how the pulmonary artery carries the impure blood to the lungs. Here, the pulmonary artery is connected in the right atrium. Already, impure blood from the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava is poured to the right atrium. This impure blood is carried by the pulmonary artery and this pulmonary artery passes the impure blood to the lungs where it is going to be purified. This is indicated in this animation. Let us see how the oxygen-rich air flows to the lungs. This is the representation of the air that passes to the lungs and to the alveoli. This is indicated here. During the inhalation, via consuming oxygen-rich air. This oxygen-rich air is passed to the lungs. In the lungs, it is passed to the alveoli, the tiny node sac. This is the cross-sectional view of the alveoli. Here we have pulmonary artery, which carries impure blood from the heart. The blood gets purified in the lungs through the gas exchange, where the carbon dioxide present in the impure blood gets exchanged in the lungs, and oxygen that is present in the lungs gets transferred to the blood. The oxygen-rich blood is carried by the pulmonary vein, and it supplies the pure blood to the heart. Let's see a small animation of gas exchange. Here, hemoglobin has lower affinity for carbon dioxide in the higher pH environment of the healthy oxygenated alveoli. Hemoglobin has lower affinity for oxygen in the lower pH environment of working muscle. Exchange of gas takes place. During this, the blood gets purified and the carbon dioxide that is present in the impure blood gets transferred to the alveoli. This is represented here. Let's see another animation of gas exchange. The impure blood from the heart is carried by the pulmonary artery that consists of a rich amount of carbon dioxide that is passed to the lungs. In the lungs, sufficient amount of oxygen is present. The transfer of gas takes place in the lungs, and the carbon dioxide that is present in the blood gets removed and the blood gets purified by the oxygen. Now, the blood consists of rich amount of oxygen that is carried by the pulmonary vein. This is represented here. Flow of pure blood from the lungs to the heart. Pure blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary vein and it pours the pure blood to the left atrium. This is indicated here. Let us see how the pure blood from the lungs passed to the left atrium. The pure blood from the lungs is carried by the pulmonary veins, and the pulmonary veins pour the pure blood to the left atrium of the heart. This is indicated here. Let us see the details of blood. Blood is collection of specialized cells suspended in straw-colored liquid called plasma. Blood delivers oxygen and nutrients to body cells, collects waste, distributes hormones, spreads heat around the body to control temperature, and plays a part in fighting infection and healing injuries. Blood forms about 1/10 of the body weight of an adult, amounting to 5 liters in volume. Now we see about blood plasma. Roughly 50 to 50% of the blood plasma consists of the liquid only portion in which cellular components are distributed. Plasma is 90% water containing dissolved substances such as glucose, there is blood sugar, hormones, enzymes, and also waste products such as urea and lactic acid. Plasma also contains proteins such as albumins, fibrinogens, and globuloproteins or globulins. Alpha and beta globulins help to transport lipids, which are fatty substances such as cholesterol. Gamma globulins are mostly the disease-fighting substances known as antibodies. Let us now discuss about the specialized cells in blood. The remaining 45 to 50% of the blood is made up of three types of specialized cells. They are red blood cells or erythrocytes which carry oxygen, various white blood cells known as leukocytes are part of the defense system, and the cellular fragments which are also called as platelets or thrombocytes which are involved in the process of blood clotting. Red blood cell representation is shown below. White blood cell representation is shown below.